Alright, I'm going to teach you how to do Queen Earthwalker skip. A lot of people would say that this is one of the hardest tricks to do in the game, only because it's inconsistent and the amount of time a person can save on this is very minute. I'm here to tell you that this trick isn't really that bad once you get used to the setup, and it actually does save a decent amount of time. So what you want to do here is do an air swim as if you're going to cape fall early. And only difference here is that you want to cancel your air swim on the other side, on the left side here, what you see here. Alright, once you cancel your air swim, you want your line to be on the left side of the tree line up until you reach this tree that you have to roll in front of in order to not fall back in bounds. You want to do this to prevent the props where the Queen Earthwalker is from spawning and turning into a bunch of cubes. Once you've done this, you don't have to take any particular line, you just take the most efficient line possible. For this next part, you want to stop it on the right side of this tree. The reason for this is because there's a huge piece of geometry that's out of bounds that you can land on from here. To get there, you want to move the control stick in a similar fashion as shown on the top left, and you should be able to land on a brick wall. Alright, once you land on the wall, you want to load the next seam that you need to walk on. To do this, you just click partially inbounds by moving forward. You want to make sure that Fox doesn't touch the grass in order to stay out of bounds. Alright, once that seam is loaded, there's a gap where the next seam is. In order to traverse this gap, you want to be looking at the left side of this corner, and walk until you see the camera start to dip. Once it starts to dip, you want to hold shield so that you don't clip back inbounds. And for the next part, I'm going to pause the video only because there's a lot that goes on here and you can't really see what's going on, and I also do it pretty quickly. For the next part, you want to sidestep and move the control stick in a similar fashion as you see on the top left. Also hold shield at the end of this movement just to make sure that I either don't clip and bounce, I don't fall into the void, and it's also a good indicator on whether or not I made it past the seam. With the seam, the second that you start moving, Fox will partially lose control until he clips back inbounds or he falls into the void. You can tell that this happens by the rumble of the controller. Your end goal here is to get on the right side of this corner by doing this movement. You can tell that you're on the right side of this corner when there's no rumble when you press shield after you've done the movement. Alright, so this next part is pretty simple. You just want to be near inbounds while holding shield on each seam. You also want to make sure you can see where Fox is going, so adjust your camera for this part. The second to last seam that you have to load will make you lose control of Fox, so make sure you're holding shield on that seam, but afterwards you don't have to worry about loading any more seams from this point onwards. Now this is the quote-unquote difficult part of this trick. What you want to do here is look at the Queen Earthwalker and sidestep around this corner of the torch. Once you've done that, you want to clip partially back inbounds to the point where Fox isn't getting burnt by the torch. And you want to make sure that you're not looking into the void when you go into first person mode from the torch. Once you've done that, align Fox so that the right side of his head is touching the bottom leaf of this magic plant, as you can see here. Alright, after you align Fox with the magic plant, you want to go into first person mode and look at the left side of the first white decal on this wall over here. You want to make sure that you're not looking at the corner of the wall, or else you're going to hit the cutscene trigger because your angle of approach will be too steep. But once you get yourself in line, you want to roll forward until you clip inbounds and you pass the cutscene trigger. Yeah, that's Queen Earthwalker skip. And to prove that I didn't already play the cutscene beforehand, I'm gonna just show you that the cutscene still hasn't been activated yet. See, there you go. Still hasn't been played. I skipped it, so yeah, it's possible.